fucking DeBarge family, that should die under the jail. All being protected by Clive Davis. I wonder why.
Jaguar Wright just pulled the curtain back on what 50 Cent cut out of the Diddy documentary, and what she's describing is much darker than anything Netflix showed. According to her, this wasn't just light editing. She says names were removed, footage was left out, and the real story was trimmed down on purpose.
Was there anything at all that you were watching this documentary that was new information to you?
New?
Yes.
No.
From the history of Puff, him coming up, anything new?
No. There was nothing new for me. There was nothing new for me. 50 isn't just as bad as Diddy. 50 actually has a heart. He's a lovable thug. You know? Somebody should ask Soulja Boy how loving he is. He's very loving. All that time they spent together and the way he believed in him. Oh my God. They were almost inseparable. Truth is, Curtis is a swish. Been a swish for many years. Everyone knows it. The reason why I haven't got behind Curtis Jackson is because the only reason he wants them out of the way is so he can take over.
If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you heard Jaguar Wright is going all the way in on 50 Cent's Diddy documentary. And honestly, your curiosity makes sense. While everyone else is focused on what made it into Diddy, The Reckoning on Netflix, Jaguar is talking about what never made it to the screen at all. She says the most shocking parts weren't cut because they were weak or boring. They were cut because they were too explosive. The kind of information that could raise serious questions about powerful people. In this video, you're going to hear about a few major things Jaguar claims were completely left out. First, she talks about Clive Davis and why his absence from the documentary stood out, and why no one seems willing to speak on him. Next, we'll break down what Jaguar says was missing from the Lil Rod lawsuit coverage, including why Stevie J was never mentioned. And finally, she makes some jaw-dropping claims about Diddy being connected to the Illuminati and spiritual warfare that go far beyond the music industry. And Jaguar has some very interesting theories on why 50 chose to keep silent on some things.
And now they got an even bigger one named Curtis Jackson. They should check the EPA report since he's been there and the toxic waste he's been allowing to be dumped around the property of Millennium Studios for cheap cash. And I'm not saying allegedly, Curtis. I know what you've been doing. You don't get no about what happens to those people in that town, but I do. I just wonder how you like that man I sent you. Because he really didn't think you was gonna go for him. You, Curtis. You better do right by Shreveport, or I'm gonna let everybody know that Diddy doo-wop bop ain't the only taste you got.
One of the biggest questions Jaguar Wright keeps asking is about Clive Davis. She points out that this is a man who owned 51% of Bad Boy Records. That means he had control. Yet in a 4-part documentary about accountability, he barely shows up at all. Jaguar says he only gets around half a minute of screen time. To her, that makes no sense, unless he was being protected. Maybe he doesn't want to be connected to Diddy anymore.
I'm recently walking into somewhere and they asked him about Diddy and he said, who? Is that old age, or does he not, they're not in the same world? Or they're in the same world, but they're not cohorts.
He's definitely been his ex.
Oh. Okay.
I would call that the same world.
Okay. Pretty
And
intertwined.
for him to say Diddy who is his way of saying, I'm not talking about Sean anymore. Maybe he's been playing cozy with the other Sean. Maybe he just got him another Sean.
When Jaguar was asked who the worst celebrity she has ever been around, she didn't pause. She said Clive Davis. She described him as someone with enormous power and a very dark presence in the music industry. She went even further, claiming he was connected to multiple tragic deaths.
Bitch who would sign to Clive Davis after we all know what he did to Whitney Houston? And praise, Clive is my everything. Clive is my everything. I'd be nothing without him, you're fucking right. you're still nothing, even with him. Like, why does nobody want to be honest about this? Why is everybody so hot? Why do we want to believe? Yeah, she sacrificed her family, and I ain't saying allegedly. I'm gonna go talk to that. I've always wanted to talk to him.
Now, no one is saying these claims are proven facts, but it does raise a serious question. Why does someone with that much influence barely appear in a documentary that claims to tell the full story? According to Jaguar, the reason is simple. Talking about Clive Davis means talking about the real power behind Bad Boy.
Who's the worst celebrity like that you've been around is like the most full of sin? I know no sin is greater, but like just was like, damn, this
Clive Davis. Devil incarnate. Clive Davis. He Janis Joplin. He blackmailed Betty Wright so she wouldn't tell anybody that he Janis Joplin. He killed Whitney Houston.
Jaguar also brings up moments and connections that she says people refuse to talk about. She questions why certain powerful figures were never questioned or even mentioned, despite being present during key moments in the industry. To her, these silences are not accidents. She believes they are deliberate.
Clive is a whole freak.
You think Clive put him on to all?
I know. Clive, that's what he do. Queen Clive. Long may she reign in hell.
When 50 Cent
Don't nobody want to talk about why R. Kelly's bus was parked in Clive Davis's driveway, why his tour bus was parked in Clive Davis's driveway at the house where the shit went down between Chris and Rihanna. Don't nobody want to talk about why it was filled with video girls who were being trafficked. And he was never questioned by Me Too. Why ain't nobody from Me Too saying anything? They had so much to say about Harvey Weinstein, who's now all his charges is being dropped. So much for their investigation. Guess it was a little paper thin.
She then talks about Gene Deal, describing him as a peacemaker who helped keep things from spiraling out of control during tense times in the Bad Boy era. According to Jaguar, his presence kept a lot of situations from becoming much worse. She says when he was no longer around, everything changed. Without that balance, she believes unchecked power took over.
A million things I could tell you. There were a lot of fights at those old rap shows. What I can say was, he was the peacemaker. Period. Didn't nobody want to feel what he had to give. And he was never quick to give it. He gave a word, and that was understood. And it was the confidence that was built around his character that made Bad Boy so feared. You know what I mean? Because ain't nobody want what he had or the people he could call to back up what he said. That gave Bad Boy a presence not to be fucked with. You know, Death Row had Suge, but Suge was the CEO. Diddy wasn't that.
Yeah.
But he had Gene, see. And Gene kept him honest. Like, you gotta remember, all of these people been knowing each other since high school. We talking back in the day. You know, even out, like, when people don't even realize, like, I'll Be Sure and Pete Rock, they're best friends, yo.
Right.
They went to high school together. They've been best friends since 10th grade. People change a lot when money and circumstances come into the way. How a person acted in the 10th grade is going to be very different than how they act with $500 million and an axe to grind. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different person.
Jaguar Wright also exposed footage of Diddy and Lil Rod spending time together during a strange and confusing period. She described the situation as extremely unsettling, especially when paired with voice messages that felt overly personal and inappropriate for two grown men.
Speaking of God, did you see him with Lil Rod working out?
Oh man, that was
While they were on the come down from all of the pharmaceuticals and all of the weirdo behavior and all of the alcohol, watching TD Jakes.
yeah.
That didn't look weird.
It's very weird. The voice memos alone. I miss your legs.
Your limp leg.
Your limp leg. Damn.
Not legs. Your limp leg. L-E-G.
Yeah. Jeez.
What straight grown man says that to another grown man? Because it sounds like the leg that he was referring to was his pee-pee scar.
When Jaguar talks about Lil Rod's claims, she says this is where things get truly disturbing. According to the lawsuit, Lil Rod described nights where people were drinking heavily, then suddenly losing awareness and waking up without memory of what happened. Jaguar says that alone should have shocked everyone watching, but instead, it was brushed past far too quickly.
That's as wild as it gets, man. There's so much left unsaid.
Just wake up with Diddy next to him. Wake up sore. But I'm tripping, all right? I'm tripping. I mean, that's what the whole world went around saying. I'm tripping. Okay.
When you see the Eric Sermon discussion about Misa,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like Diddy's just out there to take everyone's girl. It seems like if you got her, I want her.
When the story shifts to Kim Porter, Jaguar says the documentary failed her completely. Kim wasn't given her own voice or story. Instead, Jaguar notes that someone else spoke for her, which she found strange and unfair, considering how important Kim was to Diddy's life.
They didn't portray her at all.
Yeah, they didn't.
That's the thing. They didn't portray her at all. She was spoken for by Kalima. That was interesting to watch. You don't think? Kalima's testimony? She was probably the most pitiful witness they brought up to speak about all of this in the entire thing. Kalima?
Wait, why you say that? She was emotional. She was
Emotional? That's what you call it?
that's what I'm trying to call it.
Capricorn Clark was emotional. I'll give her emotional. I'm sitting there looking at someone, in my opinion, who appears to be struggling with a substance issue, trying not to fall apart on camera. Meanwhile, nobody paying attention to the fact that she's sitting there afraid to really say anything at all because she's in the middle of a custody battle and she's trying to get her kids back. And she's got to be careful of whatever she says because it could make it impossible for her to get her kids back. Did nobody pay attention to that?
Yeah, no, she said she wanted $5,000 from Diddy.
She wanted $5,000 from her former bandmate and a billionaire. And he wouldn't even give her $5,000 to help her get her kids back?
From there, Jaguar raises another big question. Why were certain people never mentioned at all? She specifically calls out Stevie J, saying his absence makes no sense. According to Jaguar, Stevie J lived in the same house where much of this activity allegedly happened, and was one of Diddy's closest producers for years. Yet somehow, his name never comes up.
Nobody's talking about who her husband is and who her husband is to Diddy. He's one of Diddy's #1 minions.
Oh yeah, no, that's news.
He's a loyalist. He is a Diddy doo-wop bop. Kalina's also bisexual, so I'm finding it kind of interesting that she didn't see anything, she wasn't around anything, she didn't know about anything, and this is not me putting anything crazy on her. This is exactly what she said when she was on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta with Stevie J, who was also not mentioned at all during this documentary. Because Stevie J was living at the Star Island house. Tell me something, how do you have all of that stuff about Little Rod and there's no Stevie J?
Jaguar doesn't believe that was accidental. To her, it looked like someone was carefully removed from the story.
Interesting, because there was some of the footage that Little Rod has shared with this documentary that he shared with nobody else that he did an interview with, and none of that made it into the trial. There's images of him with French Montana and the Diddler on the yacht.
Yeah.
But nothing of Stevie J. Surgically removed. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Yeah. See Stevie J not around?
Not at all. Not at all. One of Diddy's main producers throughout the years. And I'm not sure. I haven't bothered to check because I never really had any need or want to care to pay attention to the Love album. Stevie J don't have no credit on that project at all. Heard some of the girls that, hooked up with Diddy throughout the years, and when they would come to his house and they would walk in the door and he would ask them, so how do you feel? You made it. By just being around him. But then again, when you listen to some of the way that he was referring to himself, like talking about he can only compare himself to the Son of God and oh, it's been so long. So I forgot how to get to my tone and I've been rapping so long and listening to myself that I forgot how to be myself. And it's like watching, I don't want y'all sitting here looking like watching Jesus walk on water, learning how to walk on water. Like,
yeah, no. Even the fact that he told everyone, y'all are rock stars, y'all are hot. I'm the level of hot. So he's saying, don't ever think you're bigger than me when I'm in the room. I'm like, just that thought process is.
No, just not even that. He was like, y'all hot and I'm lukewarm. Y'all not don't think I'm gonna sit here and let y'all be hot while I'm lukewarm. That's what he said. So basically what he was saying is y'all not doing enough to turn me up. Don't think that I'm gonna let y'all look good and y'all don't work harder at making me look good. But he's referring to himself as God? As the Son of God? Like, I don't know what people want to believe.
According to Jaguar, Diddy isn't the mastermind people think he is. She believes he's a pawn, someone being used inside a much larger system.
They did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it, blame it all on Diddy, and the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh? So now you speaking for all of hip hop, and all of hip hop is uncomfortable with this. You want to know the one thing that I'm finding also very interesting that nobody's paying attention to? The presence of that pyramid You know, that the same thing that the Rock Nation likes to put up, the same hand symbol that, you know, the sororities and the fraternities like to use. I'm not going to emulate it because you know exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
The pyramid sign that Diddy was wearing that around his neck. You wanna know what I found funny? That there were a bunch of YouTubers that were at that courthouse that were wearing that same, it was a much smaller version, but that same symbol.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the part of this story that makes it possible for people, I think, to graze over the reality of all that's going on. You know, if you just look at it from the salacious celebrity stuff, from pop culture media, so-called this new media, and I'm really not liking that term, this new media, because what it really sounds like is the name of a gang. Like the media is media. Because I'm looking at the people that are falling under it, and they're all the same people that are involved with, you know, creating these propaganda campaigns. You know, but that's exactly what Diddy was saying at the beginning of the documentary. We need somebody that is proficient, you know, or fluent in being able to spin propaganda and narratives.
She calls it spiritual warfare. And once you look at it that way, she says you can't put all the blame on Diddy alone.
Only look at it from the face value aspect of it, you know, that's one thing. But if you look to the spiritual side of it, it's completely different. It unveils a much deeper agenda, you know, because for those who, you know, it's funny, people like to talk about God and they like to throw God's name around and they like to talk about their religious and they like to talk about this and they like to talk about that, but then they don't want to acknowledge the spiritual warfare aspect of all of this that's involved. Because if you're only looking at this as freaky behavior and this, that, and the other, then that's perfectly fine. But if you take it and you flip it on the other side and you look at it as spiritual warfare, it casts a much bigger net and a much bigger light on everything. You can't just put it all on Diddy. You can't.
And the most damning thing about all of these allegations isn't that Jaguar Wright made them, but that one of Diddy's closest ex-friends, Mark Curry, substantiated them. When the conversation turned to Kim Porter, his tone changed. This wasn't speculation to him.
Do you think he had anything to do with Kim Porter passing?
I tell you this, on the 16th, it's in my new book. You remember when they say Cassie said that her friend got dangled over a balcony?
Mm-hmm.
It was on the 16th. And on the 18th, Kim Porter passed. 2 days, something like that. What could have been going on in that house in Covers or on Wilshire at Cassie's little condo would make him want to dangle, or even let it be said that he did dangle, because we don't, you know, it's allegedly said that he dangled. So I'm like, damn, so dangled over the balcony, that means it had to have been an argument about something. Now, Cassie said in the interview, I pay attention to the male escort. I'll unalive you. I said, wow, she's a killer. Then she said that her and Kim didn't get along. Kim knew that she didn't like her and she didn't like Kim. It was a real jealous thing. You know what I'm saying? Because see, Puff, when Kim moved to Los Angeles, Puff moved behind her, right? Chasing her back, put her in the house. He bought a house, put her in it. And then now the original beef was because he had her pregnant and had somebody else pregnant. Sarah was pregnant. At the same time, Kim was pregnant with the twins. So she was like, nigga, you ain't gonna have the whole world pregnant at once. So she's like, I'm getting away from you. You're a greaseball, right? So she's gonna leave him. Then Cassie just comes around. Then he moves Cassie to Wilshire. So she like, damn, nigga, you done moved out here, put me, and you done moved out here too. And I'm trying to get away from you.
That was the breaking point. Kim decided she was done and tried to move on with her life. But even then, she couldn't fully escape him. When Kim passed away, the official cause was pneumonia. Mark said that explanation never fully added up for him.
The 16th, the thing that I really want to know is, I'm sure we all want to know. One, you're unalive a man and you didn't like her, and 2 days prior, or a few days prior, it was a big argument in your house, and 2 days later, this is what happened. Somebody please explain this to me. Somebody please explain this to me. I mean, because when you got pneumonia and you got money, guess what you can do?
You can get rid of it.
Yeah, you don't have pneumonia. Huh? Pneumonia usually, I thought pneumonia has something to do, like a lot of people who had a virus, one of those viruses, we won't say the virus, it usually be pneumonia, would take them out. Pneumonia, right? Mucus build up.
Magic.
Mucus is the #1 killer of people. What people don't know it. So mucus build up.
Thank you, Mark. I see that almost every day.
That's right. You gotta keep that stuff right. So then you look at pneumonia and you look at the things that come, the underlying things that come with it, you be like, wow, this gotta be a little bit deeper. You know, plus a lot of people move to Los Angeles once they find out certain things, because Los Angeles is a great place to be to get treated. People went to his parties and said they caught something. You know, there's one dude right now, Cassie running from him right now.
She avoiding the lawsuit.
Man, she doing the TK. She doing TK like a motherfucker. Instead, she running.
Do you think she should have been charged as a co-conspirator?
I ain't never understand none of they charge, because I'd be like, damn, I used to do the same shit. You know, so I say never put my hand on no woman, but I bought some girls, I bought some stuff before, I bought some coochie. Well, that shit. Even in a regular relationship, you don't even know it. You buying it. You buying it regardless.
You paying for it either way.
Paying for it any way it goes. So I could never say he's wrong for anything like that. But the only thing I say wrong for is just not knowing when to put a cap on that shit, man. It's enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Because if this up right here, like when you get to the point where you be like, I enjoy it, urinating on females. You be like, what's
sick?
Is that? You sick. That means you enjoy humiliating people. Same way you want me to put on a little clothes and go to Morocco.
Damn.
See?
All of these allegations, completely missing from the Diddy documentary, are completely insane. So you really have to ask why 50 chose not to include them. Was he hiding something? Was he protecting someone? Let us know in the comments below.